Hello and welcome to this edition of Diaspora Central SPOTLiGHT. I am Gil Ingles, and with me today in the studio, ladies and gentlemen, she is an author, she is a connector, she is a creative, she is a lady that stays busy and makes sure that she capitalizes on her busyness. Dynasty.
Hello.
Welcome to Diaspora Central.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
No, definitely a pleasure. And we know right off the bat, you have a brand new book out. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank God, most importantly.
Indeed. Amen.
That I'm not still stuck in the chapters. That God brought me out and I can write the book.
Yeah, but it's growth, right? It's growth. Mm-hmm. It's a process of growing. It's a process of living life, appreciating life, being thankful for the experiences that we have while we're living, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, you are true testimony of what it is like to take life by its horns and ensure that you turn it into what you want that to be, and not allowing your circumstances determining what your future is supposed to be.
Yes.
Yeah. Can we get into your story?
Yes.
Yeah. So let's start with our hometown. Where were you born and raised?
I was born in Jacksonville, Florida, and I was raised in Jacksonville, Florida.
So you're Florida all the way.
I am from Duval. Duval, okay, it's one of the biggest cities in Florida.
Okay.
It's one of the 9th largest cities in the United States. So I'm from Duval.
Okay.
You know, that's what we call it. You ain't from Jacksonville, you ain't from Florida, you from Duval. If you're from Jacksonville, you from Duval. So I'm from Duval.
You're from Duval. All right. Now, what schools did you go to?
So I'm a West Side girl.
Okay.
So anybody from Jacksonville, if you know about the West Side, you know they make some of the most beautiful girls in the world.
Is that what it is? There you go. Yeah.
So I'm from Jacksonville.
Yeah.
So one of my most influential elementary school was Jacksonville Heights Elementary.
Okay. All right. What was so influential about it?
Everybody from the West Side started right there.
There you go. Everybody was somebody started there, huh?
Everybody was at Jacksonville Heights Elementary School. My dad committed suicide when I was 11. His sister always, I was her daughter. So she actually worked at that school. I was the kid that did whatever I wanted to do, kind of like what I do now. I just use wisdom.
Yeah.
When you're a kid, you don't know any better.
Right.
So she was a educator. She was a special education teacher. So every school she worked at, I had to go to, so she can keep an eye on me.
There you go.
And so she worked there for quite some time. So I went there until they just couldn't deal with me anymore.
Yeah. So basically, you lose and my condolences, Maya. I mean, it's been a while, but my condolences still, and may he rest in peace. You lose your father at 11, right? So at that point, that's the male figure in your life, I take it.
Well, my dad was never truly there. My dad he was a gangster. He was a thug. He was a hitman.
Okay.
So he lived a very wild life.
So he was in the streets.
He was in the streets. He was in the streets, but he battled with mental health really bad. So it was always two sides to him.
Okay, got you.
So growing up, for whatever reason, though, I was a daddy's girl.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it was nature versus nurture. I'm not sure, but I was really close to him. I was really close to his family, some type of way. I always looked for him. Yellow Pages was out. The phone book was out at the time.
Yeah.
And I would always look up my grandma's name, and I would look in that phone book, and I would find their number.
Got you.
And I would call, and I would try to reach out to him. So my whole life, he was in and out. Years go by, I wouldn't see him, and then he'd just pop up on Christmas with a bunch of gifts.
There you go.
Missing for a couple birthdays, then pop up and give me the best birthday ever.
Okay.
So, early on, I struggled with daddy issues.
Okay.
I did.
Yeah. So and sometimes those bonding, how can I say, that affects the bonding and the bonding relationships. I guess that's what I'm trying to go. That affects the bonding relationships, and sometimes even the trust when it comes to male relationships and things of that sort. But eventually, you leave Florida and you end up in Houston. So I'm sure that there's a path that brings you to Houston.
There
right?
is.
Yeah.
Okay, so I went to Jacksonville Heights Elementary. Then I went on to Jeff Davis Middle School.
Okay.
And then I went to pursue an early nursing education
Okay.
at Orange Park High School. So in 7th grade, I ended up writing this big essay to get into the nursing program. And I got in.
Yeah.
I got in, I skipped a grade, and then they put me over into this program where my whole curriculum was based around this program. But of course, got in trouble. I got in trouble like in 10th grade.
You're not a troublemaker, are you?
I'm not a troublemaker, but you know, the world, sometimes society wants everybody to be one way.
Right.
And when you, that sheep, that little black sheep that goes the opposite way, people don't know what to do with black sheep. They don't want to make sweaters. They don't want to make clothes. They don't know what to do with the black sheep.
Yeah.
So sometimes they tend to kind of push it aside. So I was kind of pushed aside. You know?
You.
So I ended up going to Ed White High School. I graduated 2008, June 4, 2008 from Ed White High School. The day I graduated, I met a guy. He was just like my dad. Everybody even says he looks like my dad.
Oh, wow.
So I met this guy, and he was a drug dealer. He was a street guy. He was just like my dad.
The same elements that you saw in your father.
Same elements that I saw. They even have the same favorite food.
I think I see where this story is going.
Yes. So I met this guy, and, you know, he did, the only difference between him and my dad, he made promises. He was, you know, he made promise to protect me, promise to be there for me, like take care of me, move me in his house.
Yeah.
He was about 7 years older. So I met him, and at this time we're going through a recession, and he was, you know, had me trafficking drugs, doing a lot of illegal stuff. I was 18.
Wow.
So, but I also had a scholarship, I had a Bright Future scholarship at a time.
Wow.
I had a full scholarship to University of Central Florida. So,
did you take the scholarship?
I took the scholarship, and I ended up moving to Orlando. But I met him prior too. So while I was down there, I was so busy, like making fast money, moving drugs around, picking up cocaine, picking up guns, you know, trafficking up and down from North Florida, Georgia, down to Miami.
Wow.
So I was kind of.
So he definitely had you in the streets.
Oh, he had me in the streets. I was a dope man's wife.
Yeah. Wow.
I was a queen pin.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I lived a fast life. I was young, and it was like, okay, I want to be successful. Whatever you want to be, the desire will always be there.
Right.
But I truly believe that opposition forces, the outside influences, some people say the enemy, some people say the devil, will truly come in and try to
get that energy.
To try to pervert
going the
that.
other way, right.
You know, it looks like what you want. It seems good.
Right.
I'm young. I got all nice cars, Egyptian cotton rugs and sheets, and you know, the nice purses, the nice bags. Like, I'm living what the music is talking about. I'm 18. I don't know no better. I didn't even really know how to brush my teeth fully yet. So,
what was your favorite song around that time?
There's a song by Rick Ross. And it's called I'm Speeding. And they got like 3 remixes. Yeah. And one remix, it has Jeezy, Rick Ross, Plies, Lil Wayne. Okay. Every DJ Khaled. Okay. All of the people that promoted the lifestyle that I was drawn into was on this song, and I replayed it over and over and over while I was trafficking cocaine, speeding, like, you know, so I was living in that energy.
That was your theme right there. Yeah, but eventually something kind of brings this thing to a
was like, you finna crash.
Yeah. Now, not only that though, because you had a major influence from one of your aunts in your family, right? The one that was a teacher. She always kind of kept you around. She went to different schools, so she kind of kept you straight. So you had good influences right off the beginning. So at this point, it's not like you don't know.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, you know what's good and what's not good. It's just that the streets are calling.
I knew what was good. I grew up in church. I'm a preacher's kid. My mom was married to a pastor. So I was in church 5 days a week, whether I was cleaning, whether we were there to open the church, to let the music ministry practice, the usher board practice, whatever it was. So I knew the way, and I had such a strong spiritual connection. I still have people that reach out and say, girl, I remember you would make me do the Lord's Prayer. Yeah. You know, I would steal all these Bibles. There was this church called Trinity. You remember those little Bibles? Yeah. I would steal them. I did. I used to steal Bibles. Sorry.
Dynasty.
Dude, I stole Bibles. I stole Bibles.
And what would you do with them? What would you do with them?
I would give them. You remember, those little Bibles had the Lord Prayer.
Okay, so you were spreading the gospel.
I was spreading the gospel.
It's just that you were not requesting or buying them.
I was just getting them from this little church. They were free Bibles.
Right. Yeah.
They just didn't know that I was taking them.
Right.
So I was taking the Bibles, and I would always give these Bibles out, give them to kids, and I would always like especially the young guys, and I would always say like, I remember I used to, my favorite like little quote I would say is, they would do the Lord's Prayer, we would do the Lord's Prayer, and I would say, now your name is being written in the Lamb Book of Life. God has assigned 12 angels to you as of today. I remember being young. Yeah. Just saying that because I truly believed it at the time.
No, and I think that belief and that conviction is actually, I think, in my opinion, what guides you through the process that you're going through. Because sometimes the process is not clean, right? We all think that, oh man, you start life this way and it's just gonna be clean all the way across. Sometimes you go through some serious mess in that process, but you still come out clean at the end if you have the faith, right, to come out at the end. So what keeps you faithful throughout that process?
You know, what's in you is always there. Now, it's a choice. Do we submit to it? The Bible says, train up a child in the way that he or she should go. And when they're older, they will never depart.
Right.
Now, they may go a different way, but they won't depart, right? It's like getting on the luggage. Your luggage goes one place, you go another place, but it always comes back. Eventually, by the time you arrive to your destination, you're going to have your luggage.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what that spirit was for me. I always was passionate about helping people, but this devil came in, and it became an influence. I gave it power. I gave it life. I trusted him out of my lack. I didn't have a daddy, so all I know is I wanted to be loved. I was a young girl. I'm 18. Never had a father figure. So I want to be loved. I want to be protected.
Right. At that point, is he your first boyfriend?
This is my first.
Wow. Okay. So he's basically the one guy that gets your heart and makes you a woman.
Pretty much. We actually got married. But yes, he was the one that came in and, you know, on that demonic assignment, I call it. But I'm so grateful for it.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful.
Lessons of life.
I'm grateful for the lessons of life. I'm grateful for, you know, going to prison. I'm grateful for being in an abusive relationship.
Now, when and how does that happen? When is it that God says, you know what?
You got to stop. Stop speeding.
Yeah.
I'm speeding.
Slow down.
Slow it down.
Yeah.
Now, God ain't going to tell you to slow it down because God is not a lukewarm type of God.
Right.
You either in or you're out. You in or you're out. Ain't no in between.
Yeah. Clean it up.
Clean it up.
Yeah.
So, I was on this little rant from June. I met him June, the day I graduated high school. So I met him June 4th, and God set me down January 9th of 2009. So just a couple months.
Yeah.
I was in Orlando. I was trafficking drugs. I was even getting girls to traffic. You know, I was building this drug organization to please him.
Wow.
My spirit was convicting me. I wasn't happy, you know, but sometimes sin is cultivated in the atmosphere.
Right.
So I had I was in the atmosphere where it was being cultivated, so I became a product of what was being cultivated.
Yeah.
It had the music, the weed, the alcohol, the clubs, the influences. So I ended up getting caught. It ended up in a shootout. In Orlando. I was in Orlando, Florida. I ended up in a shootout. My car had over 60-something bullets in it. There was bullets in the headrest.
Wow.
I literally was supposed to be
And you
dead.
survived.
I was driving this car. It wasn't like I was in this car, crashed into a ditch. It was a whole shootout for this cocaine.
Wow.
Because that's how serious, you know, cocaine back then. A kilo of cocaine was about $80,000 to $100,000 on the streets.
Yeah.
So this was serious stuff during this time that I was moving. And I had done a lot of trafficking, done a lot of, you know, bad stuff in the drug world. And this time, for whatever reason, I wrecked the car. I was ended up in a shootout. The cops came. Someone got shot. So when they took us in for questioning, okay, this is a drug deal gone bad.
Okay.
So I was arrested because I had the cocaine.
Okay.
So I was arrested for trafficking, conspiracy to traffic, armed trafficking, possession of a firearm.
Jeez.
Which are all punishable by life. The minimum charge, the smallest charge carried 15 years.
Wow.
And that's what I was sentenced to in prison, 15 years.
15 years.
So I'm fighting this case. I'm fighting this case for almost 2 years in the county jail.
Yeah.
I had a baby by my ex-husband. I had the baby.
Okay.
And before the baby was born, I ended up getting sentenced to prison time.
Okay.
So I leave this baby. I'm not there first, second, third, fourth birthday. I leave this baby, and I'm in jail.
Wow.
I'm in the county jail. I stay there 2 years. I meet so many people, girls coming in and out, in and out, in and out. Then I go to prison.
Yeah.
And when I got to prison, that's where my passion for helping people woke up.
Yeah.
I have my own line of skincare products. I have my own line of supplements. Well, then they would give us over-the-counter medicine on the canteen, creams for your skin, hair. So I would mix stuff to help these women because, stress can bring a lot out of you.
Right,
That's the very dark, stressful. That's a place. That is Lollabar. That is a place of its own. That is a place where spirits roam free.
Right.
I mean, there has been times where I've been attacked by demons while I'm sleeping.
Wow.
Everything from sexual demons, raping demons,
Gracious.
crying demons.
Gracious.
Because you're there, you're in the atmosphere, because that's what the enemy comes.
You're in the environment.
Yeah, make it seem like, oh, this life is good. You just made $100,000.
Yeah.
You're counting all of this money. You're living your life. You're carrying all these bags. But the wages of sin is death.
Right.
And the enemy tried to kill me, but God said, no, I truly remember bullets flying past my face. I felt the heat of them. And I was being guarded. I remember during this shootout, I was pleading the blood of Jesus. I was like, I plead the blood of Jesus. I plead the blood of Jesus. And I remember feeling so warm all around me.
Yeah.
And I'm in this car. This car had 60-something bullets, and not one bullet touched me.
Wow.
So when I got there, my mind was already made up that, God, whatever you tell me to do, whatever you want from me,
I'm going to do it.
whatever, because I owe you my life right now.
Yeah.
So while I'm in the, we kicking, we screaming, we crying. You're like, Lord, take me home to my baby. And I remember in the county jail, I remember praying and saying, God, I just want to go home. And I said, and I remember having this dream when I went to sleep. And I woke up out of my sleep. God gave me this scripture. And it was when Jesus was in the garden. And he prayed this prayer, Lord, if this cup pass from me, let this cup pass. Yeah. Basically, Jesus was saying, Lord, get somebody else to do it.
Right.
That's what he was saying.
Yeah.
And I remember praying that prayer. And I said, but Lord, nevertheless, the same prayer. I said, nevertheless, if it's your will for me to go, because jail and prison are two different things.
Right.
So if it's your will for me to go to prison, I said, let's just do it. And I accepted in that moment. The next morning I woke up, I had a court date that just came out of nowhere. And I went, I was sentenced to a 10-year split sentence.
Okay. No.
And 5 years in prison, followed by 5 years on probation. Okay. I was originally sentenced to 15 years in prison, mandatory, no game time, no coming home early.
Wow.
So I was there fighting. I was on an appeal. So I was fighting to get my life back. So during this time, I came into such an intimate place. Right. With God. I wasn't focused. I was just like, God, fix me. Fix this girl. Right. Fix her.
And that's when you become this positive influence on all other ladies that are also found in the same position as you.
I did.
Yeah. Are you still in contact with some of them as of today?
I am. So I ended up going to prison, doing my prison time, and God just moved. I was believing God. I have a whole nother face story on that. But I ended up going to this YO program. It's a military program. Okay. So I ended up marching. I ended up being the head of my platoon, fastest runner, fastest everything. Right. I ended up getting something from the governor of Florida while I'm in prison. You know.
Which governor was it?
Governor Abbott at the time.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting like a award from the governor while I was in there for my leadership skills, my leadership qualities. Okay. So I took on this leadership role. I took on the role of the girl who's going to pray for you when you make that phone call home and something's going on with your children. Right. I took on the leadership role of that girl that's going to pray and fast with you until something happens.
The one who's going to hold you down.
The one that's going to hold you down, that one that's going to push you to that next level of glory.
Right.
So I developed that while I was incarcerated. So while I was there, I went through all these different self-help programs. And I remember sitting in this program called RTU. It's a residential treatment unit.
Okay.
And they take you through AA, NA. You meet with all these counselors. And I had a drug charge. So anybody that had a drug charge, you go through this program like an addict. Whether you sold, whether you dealt, whether you consumed. And I remember sitting in a room, and there was a mom, there was a daughter, there was the granddaughter, and she was pregnant.
Okay.
So I sat in a group of like 20 women. And within that group of 20 women, there was 4 women and a baby that were all related in one prison.
Wow.
One place, one time.
3
and
generations.
I saw the generational curse.
Wow.
Right there. And I remember like hearing the mom, she had been to prison, like the grandma, she had been to prison like 9 different times. And I heard her tell this story about how she was raped by her mom's boyfriend at like 6 years old.
Gracious.
And how he continued to rape her until she was 13.
Wow.
And she started using drugs. So nobody helped her. Nobody healed her.
Yeah.
Nobody came to walk her through the process. Nobody told her that it is going to be okay. Nobody said, listen, God is going to give you beauty for ashes. Nobody told her that.
Yeah.
So she slept all with crazy with different men, had a daughter, but was on drugs. Left the daughter behind. The daughter isn't being raised, so now she's stealing and she's messing with drug dealers and all these crazy people. And she's living this life, and she wants to know why her mom doesn't love her. Where's her daddy at? So now she got generational issues. And so now she has her daughter. She left her daughter, and now her daughter's been out here by herself, and she's just 19 years old, and she has a stealing and boosting record this long since she was 12 years old. Now she's in prison as a habitual offender, but she's pregnant, and she's gonna have a baby here in this prison with her mom and her grandma too.
Right.
And I remember sitting there, tears coming to my eyes, and I remember saying, God, I gotta help these people.
Right.
How? And I remember for 6 months I started journaling, and my prayer was, God, I gotta help these people. God, I gotta help these people. Of course, I can't help them. You know, right there.
You're somewhat in the same predicament.
I'm in the same predicament, but I remember praying, God, give me the tools. Give me the strategy.
You have hope.
Give it to me. Send me, I'll go. I remember that being my prayer. And I did my time. I came home 2014, January 2014. I came home. Of course, you know, I still got this devil right here who's like, okay, you know, God done glorified me. He done,
and that's the husband.
That's my ex-husband.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
He glorified me, you know, you doing good. So the enemy is like, oh, so you went up there. I locked you up. And now you come back strong and powerful.
Right.
You got a
bigger than you were when you went in.
Bigger than before.
Yeah.
You went to prison and got bigger.
Right.
So I still had to deal with that. We weren't married before I went to prison, but you know, I didn't have no other resources. I wasn't that strong.
Gotcha.
So I ended up, you know, back with him. We ended up having our second child.
Okay.
We ended up, you know, getting a house, getting married. And right after we got married, all hell broke loose. We had another baby. He was on like a federal investigation. Okay. Long story short, he went and bought drugs from somebody. They tracked him, followed him back to the house, and they came in and they arrested me. And I'm pregnant with this baby. Wow. And they arrested me, and I do 9 months because I'm on probation. Right. So it's a violation of probation to be in the house with drugs. Right. So I'm going to church. I'm serving. Yeah. I'm working. I'm working. I'm like been working for Chili's for 2 years. I got a job at Chili's like a week after I came home from prison. I ended up being their PR specialist. Like I hold a company's credit card. Right. Like I'm doing good things for myself.
You're legit.
I'm legit. Yeah. I'm doing good stuff for myself. And I remember saying, God, I hate you. I remember being in a place where like I'm pregnant, I'm here, I've done everything to serve you. And here I am, and these people are talking about giving me 13 years. And I just served 5 years, not even 2 years ago. Yeah. So now they're talking about giving me 13 years for being a convicted felon, being around a firearm and drugs that I had no knowledge was in my household. So I went through that, and of course, God always gonna deliver his kids. Right. He's always gonna protect us. But in that moment, that 9 months, that was God. I had already prayed before I came home, like, Lord, get me away from this man. And sometimes people wonder why you stay in abusive relationships, or your daughter was molested or abused by a man. Why do you stay?
Yeah.
And I can truly understand why people don't have the resources. When you're with a person that's a manipulator or narcissist, your mind is broken down, and you don't see anything for yourself outside of
You have
that
no
person.
hope. You see no hope.
I had faith in myself, but I had no hope. And those are two different things. So I stayed. But during this time of incarceration, I was pregnant with my child. Never knew if I was having a boy or girl. No medical attention. I had the baby there at the county jail.
Okay.
And I had to come to Jesus. And God showed me. God showed me this. God showed me books. God showed me platforms. God showed me movies.
Yeah.
God showed me during this 9 months. God showed me me. And I came home. Of course, I had to fight the devil. I had to fight to get up out the devil's territory.
Indeed.
I went through a very nasty divorce. I came home and I was serious. For God I live, for God I die.
There you
I
go.
take me to the homeless shelter, do whatever you got to do. But God showed me Dynasty.
Yeah.
God showed me I'm going to free women.
There
God
you go.
showed me.
Yeah.
So I came home, and of course I fought with him, but God released me from that. 2017, I had the baby 2016.
Yeah.
I ended up leaving him, filing for divorce in 2017. 2018, I went through my process, you know, my spiritual awakening. I went through my healing journey.
Yeah.
My divorce was final December of 2018. And shortly after that, I started having those same visions of what God showed me 2 years prior.
The books, the movies, your future.
God started seeing my
futuristic
future.
you.
Very vivid, like like it was like I would get up and I'm smelling this smell like in these dreams.
Yeah.
And I remember fasting in 2019. I remember fasting, and I said, God, where would you have me go? What would you have me do? And the next day, God said, go to Texas. But I went on this 2-week fast. The first day of the fast, God gave me the answer. But, you know, sometimes we ask God and we don't realize that God is giving us the answer.
I mean, when you get that answer, it's scary, right? Because you asked, now you get it. Now you wonder if that's really you. But with that, let's take a very quick break, because you do have the book that God did deliver through you.
Yes, from failing to winning. I do.
So let's go ahead and pass a very quick video thing on this quick break, and we'll be right back.
Okay.
If you just tuned in, you are now on Diaspora Central. We'll be back in 2.
What do you have to lose? You're living in poverty. Your schools are no good. You have no jobs. 58% of your youth is unemployed. What the hell do you have to lose?
Report live from the upside of America. Mama let me sip the 40. I was just a shorty. Damn. Then I started spitting garlic, and they said record me. Man. I feel like this shit was for me. This shit just my story. Facts. Yeah. Jumped out the porch. I got a porch, no take it back. I'm on the block with the killers and holding my own, of course. Yeah. I see my mom and dad separate, ain't talking divorce. Said daddy was living by the fire and he died by the torch. I'm where the AKs is. We like the baby kids. Ain't ever daddy, I listen to suckers the same way that Ray did. I'm telling Smithers and HKs, and I just was a grade 8 kid. Ain't on no guy, and we grew up with hitters and did everything they said. Point out the block, we spinning that. Running the spot, we getting that. Give us some work, we flipping that. I'm hitting from Jet, ain't hit.
And we are back. If you just joined us, you're now tuned into Diaspora Central Spotlight with Gil Ingles, and our guest today is Dynasty, the author. Man, what a life.
Did you feel like you just got it? Did you feel like you were on the
I'm visualizing those things. I mean, and it's interesting because a lot of times we see people that we don't realize what people go through to become who they become, right? You are delivered. Texas is now home.
Yes.
How do you restart life?
So I come to Texas with, I sell everything. I sell everything in Florida. God said, don't take anything. At the time, I was a skincare therapist, so I had my own spa. One of the things God blessed me with.
And you were already at that point. You already doing
I'm
your
already in
own
my
products,
transition.
right?
I'm making my own products.
Which are the same products that you started creating while you were in the first time.
The skincare stuff I was making, and the girls were getting healed. So I came home and I was like, this is my thing.
Right.
And I never let it go. I came home and I started doing the same thing. I started mixing plant-based skincare products, and I was doing facials, and I would make custom products for girls.
Now, as a child, did you already have a lineage of? Did you kind of already have a bit of interest in doing that?
No, not before prison. But it was always my gift.
Gotcha.
So growing up, like my whole family, I would always like mix up stuff, like hair potions.
Okay.
Like I would just mix stuff.
Okay, so you did already have, yes.
But nobody told me it was a gift.
Yeah.
Nobody told me it would make room for me.
Right.
So it was already, the gift was there. So I was already, familiar with just mixing random stuff, clay dirt.
Creating stuff, right.
Just creating stuff. So I did it while I was there. And I ended up going to get my esthetician license, went to school. And of course, you're a leader. You're going to lead wherever you go.
Right.
So I became a leader there. And I had no choice but to open up a spa because these girls, they still want to learn. I had built up all my clientele while I was there, so I had to find a place for them to come.
Right.
So I ended up opening up my spa, and it was such a move of God. And I remember God saying, like, you're going to go to Texas. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go to Texas. I'm going to do skincare. Oh, my gosh. They got, the highest paid estheticians in the United States. And, just all those things that I was thinking that
so
I was
you went in
do.
and you did your research and everything.
I did my research. I was going to come here. I was going to open up a spa. I was going to open up multiple spas.
There you go.
And the time that God told me to move, God said, sell everything. Everything that you feel is valuable, sell it. 4 months before I moved, God told me to close my business down. So I was like, what? This business is lucrative. It's positive. It's good. Like, I'm helping so many people. I ended up investing the business into somebody else. And I went on a 4-month fast. I got off of social media, cut my phone off, and I only ate fruits and vegetables, and I prayed and I cried for 4 months straight.
Wow.
And the last day of the fast, God was like, because God said Texas, but God didn't say where.
Right.
So during this time, I'm like, God, where? What part of Texas? What part of Texas? God was like, go to Dallas.
Okay.
So, but by this time, like, I didn't carry any debt with me. I paid off everything. So I had like $1,000 on a credit card, and I had a $100 bill to my name. I didn't have any furniture. I gave it all away. Like, God told me, don't take anything. Get your children and go. Those were my exact instructions.
And at that point, you have 2 children.
I have 2 children.
Right. What are the ages?
At that time, they were 3. They're 6 years apart. They were like 3 and 9.
Okay, 3 and 9. Wow.
They were 3 and 9, and I ended up finding an apartment online. I found a place online, and I'm not the type of girl that's gonna limit God. I got big faith.
Right.
So I couldn't afford the place. The place was like $2,100 a month, but I was like, God, if you tell me to go, you sending me there, I know that's going to be the promised land, overflowing with milk and honey.
Yeah.
And that's the faith that I had. Well, I ended up moving, and long story short, God truly, the first couple months, it was rough. I was like, God, did you send me here? Because COVID.
Right.
I moved December of 2019. COVID was March of 2020. Yeah. So I'm like, God, did you tell me to come here? Like, it's crazy. It's a worldwide pandemic. I'm out here by myself. I have 2 children. I don't know anyone. The world is in shambles. Yeah. What do I pack up my toys and go back? God said, stay positioned. And I want to say, not even a month later, I made almost $60,000, no website, tax free, just showing up online, talking about skincare products.
Wow.
And from there, go ahead.
So you can't go anywhere, can't do anything, got $1,000 credit card that you probably at that point, that's what you're using to spot this place.
I had to pay $700 to get a bed. So now we're down to $400.
You got $400 left on your credit. $100 is probably what you've been using to eat here and there and whatever necessary. And you get online.
I was just being obedient.
Yes. Instagram, YouTube, what was
Facebook and Instagram.
Facebook and Instagram.
I started going live. I started posting on my stories.
Okay.
And I was getting like 500 and 600, 700 views. Mind you, no one had seen me for 4 months.
Yeah.
I was off of social media. I was off the grid.
Right.
I literally like went missing for 4 months, came back smaller because I was raw vegan.
Right.
I was only eating vegetables. And I just pop up. I'm living in this nice place downtown.
Yeah.
I'm in a new city. I'm in a new state. Nobody's heard from me.
Everyone is interested now.
So everybody just being obedient.
Right.
Not knowing that these were all going to be factors that led up to God's glory.
Yeah.
So I got online and I'm like, these people are interested. It was like, they want to hear more. So I'm coming live. I'm giving the people what they want to hear.
Yeah.
They going live. I'm telling them about this journey I just was on. Like how I was fasting and now God changed my appetite. I don't eat meat anymore. I'm just telling people the truth, telling people what's been going on and where I've been. And people were interested.
Wow.
I went from about 2,000 followers when I moved. I went from 2,000 followers to now I'm at 18,000 followers from just showing up, being myself. And I was like, oh, this is the platform God was showing me to help people.
Now, one of the things that a lot of people don't know and a lot of people do not understand, right? They just hear people saying, oh, I got online and I got all these followers. Now, to monetize on that, you also got to know what you're doing or you got to create some sort of a strategy. What was your strategy?
Be a product of the products.
There you go.
Be a product and be consistent. I beat my competition with consistency. Anything that I do, I eat, sleep, live, and breathe it.
There.
If it's not me, I can't do it. So that was one of the things that consistency. I showed up every day.
Yeah.
And I was praying and fasting during this time, and God was just giving me ideas. God was giving me strategies. And I just started showing up, telling people how to be a better version of themselves.
There you go. And today you are Dynasty, the Dynasty.
I am Dynasty. Dynasty means a line of rulers, and I'm coming to rule. I'm building an empire.
There you go. And that name actually has a story behind it, right?
Dynasty?
Yeah.
Oh, I was named after a television show.
There you go. I remember that show back in the 80s. Yeah.
So you
late
told me
80s,
your
early
age.
90s. Yeah. Yeah. Late 80s, early 90s. I remember that show. I even remember some of the characters. I believe he came on at 9 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken, 9 p.m. on television. At that time, there were only like very few channels. It wasn't like today where you got cable with several channels. At that point, it was like regular television. I think it was like on Channel 9 with either 9 or 7 where Dynasty came on. Yeah.
Well, the world about to get ready for Dynasty now.
The Dynasty.
The Dynasty, because I'm coming on.
Indeed you are. Now let's talk a little bit about the book. How long did it take you to write it?
It took me about 3 months to write the book. About 3 months.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was gonna do. I just knew that God was telling me to write a book, and I was like, okay, what am I gonna write about?
Yeah.
Like, am I gonna tell my story? Am I gonna write about divorce? Am I gonna write about parenting? Am I gonna write about heartbreak?
Yeah.
Am I gonna write about growing up being abused, domestic violence? I didn't know, but I just started writing.
Okay.
I just started writing, and the story just came together on its own.
So you started evolving.
Started writing.
So you wrote it, and did you get an editor that actually ended up doing the rest of the work, or I guess the cleanup work, or you did it yourself?
No, I actually worked with a company here in Houston.
You can shout them out if you want to.
Yes, Fearless. I had worked with Fearless Storytellers. Just been on that path to divinity. Let me back it up a little bit. When I got to Dallas, I was in Dallas for 2 years. And God opened a lot of doors for me. I got an opportunity to work with Tamala Mann, some high-paid like artists, stylists, people that just wanted to buy products from me. They believed in what I was doing, and it opened a lot of doors for me. I came down here for an event, and I came to Houston November of last year for an event.
Okay.
And I met a lot of people. And this lady I met, and she just was like, I just feel drawn to you.
Yeah.
And she was just telling me.
You can give her name if you want
her
to.
name is her name is Adrian. We call her AB.
Yeah.
Adrian. And she was like, I know you got a story, and it's time for it to come out. So she had been reaching out to me like every month, and I'm like, this lady just wants me to pay her to do something. And at that time, and then I remember like I went through some spiritual warfare this summer where my health was really attacked.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, I'm a health and wellness guru.
Right.
I eat clean, but I had a major attack on my health that lasted me almost 2.5 months.
Oh, gracious.
So during this time, you know, it's when we are at lowest. God is doing the most.
Right.
Right?
Indeed.
And when you're at your lowest, it's so important to remember that means that it's almost like a slingshot. You're being pulled back because
Stretched.
you're gonna go
Yeah,
up.
you're being stretched. Yeah.
So at that time, she came to my spirit, and I hit her up, and she just told me like, oh, well, we have different packages, how the products work. I mean, so basically, I just sat on a call every day, and I just told the story. I just told the story, and as I told the story, she recorded it. She wrote it.
Yeah.
She had somebody edit it. She put everything together. We did the cover of the book at my house. I have a built-in studio at my house. We shot the cover.
Right. Because at that point, you're already big on social media.
Oh, I'm big on social media. By now, I'm big. It's been 2 years. Everything God told me he was going to do for me and promised me, I got it. I got the platform.
Were you still in the same place that you had rented when you first got there? Were you there, or you had already moved? You had moved.
So I visited last year, and when I came to visit, I said, this is where I need to be.
Okay.
I felt it. I felt something in my spirit.
So you moved.
God said go. This was November last year. My friends, the people I met here, they always say, you move so fast, my head spin.
I was going to say that. I'm like,
yeah, I came the end of November. I felt it. And when you're supposed to be positioned, position determines your power.
Indeed.
So I'm the type of person, when God tells me to do stuff, if right now God told me to do something, I'm going to stop, drop, no explanation, and I'm gone.
Yeah.
So I ended up coming here. And I was here for about 6 months before I had the bad health attack last year, over the summer. And during that time when I was down, God was doing something in me. And God was like, all right, it's time to write the book.
There you go.
And we projected the launches, everything. So I got with her, started working with her in September. The book was finished by Black Friday.
Wow. So now it's ready for the market.
It is ready. We've sold over 123 copies already.
All right. Congratulations. And we
Thank
try to push it a lot more, because that's a very inspirational story, and I think that it can definitely give guidance to hope to a lot of people that do need it. How can people get in touch with you in regards to the book? Is that a website available?
There is. So the website is www.dynastyhamilton.com.
Okay.
So they could go to dynastyhamilton.com. They can go to Amazon. There's a link on for Amazon in any of my bios. They could get it off Amazon. They can message me directly. They can DM me.
Yeah, indeed. And this is something coming directly from Dynasty. That's the top.
The top of the empire.
Indeed. Dynasty, we appreciate you coming through. Is there any shout outs that you would like to give to anyone?
I want to shout out you for
thank you.
hitting me up, giving me the opportunity.
No, it's a pleasure. That's what we're here for. We created this platform to honestly empower people like yourself that are actually doing things that are good for our community. And like I told you when I hit you up, your story was very inspirational. I saw that post and I was like, I'll be a fool if I do not support this. And that's why we're doing it. And we appreciate you accepting our invitation. Hopefully we're serving our purpose.
You are serving
Thank
your
you.
purpose. Hopefully this goes on YouTube.
Indeed, you definitely will. Yeah.
It inspires somebody. You know, my message is, it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter how low you look. I remember so many days of just looking in the mirror, crying, confused. Like, who are you? Who are we? What is wrong with us? Why are we making these decisions? And just crying out and feeling like I'm not good enough, feeling less of a person. Now I get up and I command my day. Now I get up and I tell the universe and everything and everyone around me how we're going to serve the land and life of Dynasty.
Right.
Now I work with power. Now I operate in my authority. So it doesn't matter where you are. Get the book, join the book club, connect with me, because I believe God is going to do some amazing things this year. And everybody connected with me is like Noah on the ark. Only the people on the ark, they can hide from the rain.
Indeed.
So join the ark.
Indeed. And I'll take this opportunity to invite you also to SET Institute Pan-African Library. Maybe you can, once you do Jacksonville, after that you can probably do something here in Houston at the Pan-African Library also.
I'd love to.
And hopefully we can probably try to see if we can do something maybe around February. That would really be great, because these are empowering stories that we can really use to heal and help our community, because after all, we're here to really just elevate each other. All right. We appreciate you coming through. One thing that you forgot to give to us, and you don't have to if you don't want to, your children's names.
So my baby is Weston. That's the baby that I was pregnant with. We did 9 months together. I had to break that generational curse about for him.
Indeed. Yeah.
So he was born in a jail.
Wow.
So my baby, Weston Allen, I love that boy. He's such a, he is God in the flesh.
Yeah.
He has such a strong spirit. He has such an anointing. He heals me every day.
He's
6. He's 6. And then my oldest boy, I'm so grateful for him. We've been through so much together. His name is Walter Allen.
There you go.
I'm very blessed for those children.
Yeah.
Very blessed.
You don't look like a teenager's mom yet.
I am. That's what glory looks like.
There you
It's
go.
Glory.
That's what glory looks like.
Yes.
Definitely, indeed. And you know what? Good living always
Yes.
pays, because in the long term, you always live at peace. And I'm glad that you have found yourself, and you definitely now are the light for many others
Amen.
that are before or around you. For those of you that took a few minutes to join us, I can do nothing but appreciate your time. And in all honesty, I would say get the book, and the title of the book is
From failing to winning. From felon, F-E-L-O-N. From being a felon to winning, because I am on a winning team.
There you go.
Which is the Lord's team. So yeah, we winning.
There you go. So do not ever allow your circumstances to determine your destiny. So until next time, remember, Dynasty is you. Peace.